Lake Oroville has just undergone a surge that defies logic, an impossible 23-foot rise in total darkness. What unfolded beneath the waterline has pushed scientists into outright alarm. There was no rainfall that night. No storms crossed the Sierra. No upstream dam releases. And yet, within just 4 hours, more than 7 billion gallons of water forced its way upward from below. At precisely 2:17 a.m., monitoring systems began behaving erratically. By sunrise, the shoreline had advanced over 60 feet inland. But the most terrifying discovery came later. When specialists analyzed the water, they uncovered chemical markers that simply should not be present. These signatures confirmed the water did not originate from the sky. It came from deep underground, driven upward by forces no one can yet explain. Seismic instruments registered tremors at the exact moment the water began climbing. This is the same dam that nearly failed in 2017, triggering the evacuation of 188,000 people. Millions downstream remain unaware of what may be building behind that massive concrete barrier at this very moment. Is Lake Oroville perched above a hidden geological gift capable of ending California's drought? Or is something far more dangerous preparing to rupture beneath the surface? December 19th, 2:17 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. A monitoring station on the eastern edge of Lake Oroville records a value that should not exist outside theory. Water elevation, 847.3 feet. Normal, unremarkable. But within moments, the figures begin rising without explanation. The overnight technician watches in disbelief as the gauge climbs. 848 feet, 850, 855. He checks weather radar, clear across the entire Feather River watershed. No rain, no storms, nothing. By 6 a.m., the elevation reaches 870.1 feet, a 23-foot increase in under 4 hours. No engineer at Oroville has ever witnessed anything close to this. The readings are impossible, yet they continue. The control room descends into controlled chaos as staff cross-check 3 independent monitoring systems. The California Data Exchange Center confirms the curve. Backup sensors verify it. Manual readings align within 2 inches of the digital data. This is not a software glitch. This is real. As dawn breaks over the Sierra Nevada, field crews rush to the eastern shoreline. What they see violates every emergency response protocol ever written. The waterline has advanced more than 60 feet since midnight. The intake tower, normally surrounded by exposed stone, now has waves slapping against its lower platform. Buoys anchored months earlier drift in locations that don't match any chart. Park benches once 10 feet above the surface are fully submerged. Engineers begin ruling out causes. No storms anywhere in Northern California. No rainfall for 3 consecutive days. Upstream reservoirs report stable levels and 0 releases. No landslides detected. Satellite imagery shows no debris fields or surface displacement. Every known trigger is eliminated. Yet the lake continues rising. A senior supervisor writes a single sentence that triggers a statewide alert. The shoreline has moved. This is not a data error. Lake Oroville is not just another reservoir. It is the central artery of the California State Water Project, the largest public water delivery system on Earth. Behind a 770-foot-tall concrete wall, the lake holds 3.5 million acre-feet of water. From this single point, canals and aqueducts stretch from the Sacramento Valley all the way to the Mexican border. More than 27 million people rely on this water every day. Agriculture across the Central Valley lives and dies by this lake's elevation. When Oroville drops, crop yields across thousands of square miles are slashed. When it rises, agriculture expands. Napa and Sonoma vineyards, dairy operations in the San Joaquin Valley, produce fields supplying grocery stores nationwide. All trace their water back here. Every vertical foot represents millions of gallons and billions of dollars. Inside the dam, hydroelectric turbines generate enough power for 800,000 homes, day and night. If those turbines stop, California's power grid strains to compensate. And if the dam fails entirely, the consequences ripple far beyond state borders. Simply put, Lake Oroville is California's beating heart. When it behaves unpredictably, the entire state holds its breath. This is not a localized issue. It is a single point of failure for water security, food production, and power generation across America's most populous state. Engineers describe managing Oroville as walking a tightrope in pitch darkness. One miscalculation, one unexplained surge, and millions downstream face catastrophic flooding. The unfolding mystery at Lake Oroville is not just about water. It is about survival. The
Lake
scars
Oroville
of
has
February
just undergone a surge that defies logic
for
an
communities
impossible
living
23-foot
beneath the
rise
dam in total
that
darkness.
winter.
Relentless
What unfolded
atmospheric
beneath the
rivers
waterline
has
the
pushed
reservoir
scientists
to its limits.
into outright alarm.
Engineers
There
opened
was
the
no
main
rainfall
spillway
that night.
to relieve pressure.
No storms
Within
crossed the Sierra.
hours,
Disaster
no
began.
upstream dam
A
releases.
massive crater tore
And yet,
open in
within
the
just
concrete.
4 hours,
Slabs
more
the
than
size
7
of cars
billion gallons of
collapsed
water
down the hillside,
forced its way
water
upward from
thundered
below.
through the breach.
At precisely
Stripping away
2:17
earth
a.m.,
and infrastructure
monitoring
built over
systems
half a century
began behaving
desperate.
erratically.
Operators
By
activated
sunrise,
the emergency
the shoreline
spillway,
had advanced
an
over
unlined
60
hillside
feet inland.
never meant to carry
But the
water.
most
It
terrifying
immediately
discovery
began
came later,
eroding
when
engineers
specialists
watched
analyzed
as
the water.
erosion chewed
They
backward
uncovered
toward the
chemical
dam
markers
itself
that
had it
simply
failed,
should not be
an
present.
uncontrolled wall
These
of water
signatures
would have
confirmed
devastated
the
the
water
valley.
did
At
not
4 p.m.
originate
on
from the
February
sky.
12th,
It came from
evacuation
deep
orders
underground,
went out
driven
for
upward
188,000
by forces
residents.
no one can
the
yet
largest
explain.
dam evacuation
Seismic
in
instruments,
U.S. history.
registered
Families
tremors
fled
at the exact
with what they
moment
could carry.
the water
Highways
began climbing.
gridlocked. This
Children
is the same
separated
dam
from
that
parents.
nearly failed in
Elderly
2017,
residents stranded,
triggering the
shelters
evacuation
overflowed
of
within hours.
188,000 people.
The crisis ended
Millions
only
downstream
after massive
remain
releases
unaware
and
of
emergency
what may be
repairs
building
under
behind
near impossible
that massive
conditions.
concrete barrier
But
at
the
this
fear
very moment
never left.
is Lake
For
Oroville
Maria
perched
Santos,
above a
the
hidden
sound of sirens
geological
at
gift
3
capable
a.m.
of
still
ending
sparked
California's
panic.
drought.
She remembers
Or
running
is something
through
far
darkness
more
with her
dangerous,
daughter, preparing
unsure
to
if
rupture
they would return
beneath
home.
the surface.
Trust shattered
December
that night,
19th,
and never
2:17
fully
a.m.
returned.
Pacific
When the
Standard
gauges
Time.
began
A
climbing
monitoring
again
station
without
on the
explanation,
eastern edge of Lake
Old
Oroville
Terror returned
records a
instantly.
value that should
The
not
past
exist
never stays
outside
buried.
when you
Water
live below a
elevation,
dam.
By midday, the Department of
feet.
Water Resources
Normal,
activated
unremarkable.
emergency protocols.
But within moments,
water samples
figures
were rushed
begin
to independent
rising
labs
without
under
explanation.
strict chain of custody
The
controls.
overnight technicians
watches
began
in disbelief
immediate testing
as the gauge
conductivity,
climbs.
848 feet.
Then chemical results
850,
appeared,
855,
and none of them made sense.
He checks
Lithium
weather radar.
concentrations
Clear across
measured
the
4
entire
times
Feather River
higher than
watershed.
normal lake water.
No rain.
Boron levels
No storms.
spiked to values
Nothing.
typically
By
found
6
only
a.m.
in deep
the elevation
geothermal
reaches
zones.
870.1
Rare earth metals
feet.
appeared as well.
A 23-foot
Analysis
increase
in
suggested
under 4
the water
hours.
had interacted
No engineer
with
at
deep bedrock
Oroville
for decades.
has ever witnessed
Possibly
anything
longer.
close to this.
Isotope testing
The readings
sealed
are
it.
impossible.
Oxygen
Yet
ratios
they continue.
did not match
The control
Sierra
room
precipitation.
descends into controlled
Mineral
chaos
profiles
as staff
required
cross-check
extreme heat
3
and pressure.
independent monitoring
Conditions
systems.
found miles
The California
underground.
Data
The
Exchange
conclusion
Center
became
confirms
unavoidable.
the
This
Backup
water
sensors
did not
verify
fall
it.
from clouds.
Manual
It
readings
surged
upward
upward
from deep
within
below.
2 inches of the digital
Seismologists
data.
reviewing
This is not a
earthquake data
software
found
glitch.
a chilling link.
This is real.
A cluster
As
of
dawn
microquakes
breaks
over the
occurred
Sierra
directly
Nevada.
beneath the
Field
eastern
crews
lakebed.
rush to the
Beginning
eastern
at the
shoreline.
exact moment the
What
water
they see
started
violates
rising.
every emergency
Old geological
response
maps
protocol ever
showed
written.
fault systems.
The water line
beneath
has
the
advanced
reservoir.
more than
When
60
seismic
feet
movement
since
shifts
midnight.
rock layers,
The intake
fractures
tower,
widen.
normally
If
surrounded
underground
by
pressure
exposed stone,
exceeds
now
surface
has
pressure,
waves slapping
water can
against
surge
its lower
upward.
platform.
The pathways
Buoys
need
anchored
only
widened by
months earlier
fractions
drift
of an inch
in locations
to unleash
that don't
billions
match
of
any
gallons.
chart.
Critical
Park
questions
benches
once
remain
10 feet
unanswered.
above the surface
Where is the
are fully
water
submerged.
entering?
How long will it
Engineers
continue?
begin
Is
ruling
this
out
connected
causes.
to a vast
No storms
underground
anywhere
reservoir
in Northern
never mapped?
California.
Scientists
No rainfall
cannot
for
see
3
through
consecutive
solid
days.
rock.
They can
Upstream
only
reservoirs
measure what
would reach
reaches the
stable
surface
levels
and
and
zero
speculate
releases
about what
no
lies
landslides
below.
detected.
Inside
Satellite
any dam,
imagery
an
shows
invisible
no
danger
debris
can
fields
begin
or surface
without
displacement.
warning.
Every known trigger
Water
is
finds
eliminated,
microscopic
yet
pathways
the lake
through soil
continues
or
rising.
concrete.
A
Carrying
carrying supervisor
sediment
writes
away
a single
grain
sentence
by grain.
that triggers a
By the time
statewide
damage
alert.
becomes
the
visible,
shoreline has moved.
failure can be imminent.
This is not a data
Inspectors
error.
at
Lake
Oroville
Oroville
found
is
troubling
not
signs.
just another
Cloudy
reservoir.
water
It is
emerging
the central
from
artery
foundation
of the
drains.
California State
Sediment
Water
where
Project,
clarity should
the
exist.
largest public water
Pressure
delivery
sensors
system
registering
on Earth.
values
Behind
not
a
seen
770
since
foot tall
2017.
concrete wall.
The pattern
lake
felt
holds
too precise
3.5
to
million
ignore.
acre feet of
History
water.
offers
From
grim
this
lessons.
single point,
Canals
Dam
and aqueducts stretch from the Sacramento Valley, Italy, all the way to the Mexican border. After more than 27 million Uzbekistan rely on this water every day. Mechanism. Agriculture in every case, across the signs appeared early and dies. In every case, by this lake's elevation too late. When an independent engineer was brought in, across thousands of square miles, no pressure slashed. She ordered hydroacoustic sensors to map subsurface water movement and Sonoma pressure transducers dairy operations deep into the San Joaquin Valley. The goal: produce fields, determine whether water was forced nationwide. The dam itself, all trace their water back here from outside every canyon walls. Foot represents millions of gallons slowly, and billions of dollars. Inside the dam, it hydroelectric turbines generate enough power for 800,000 homes. Stands at her kitchen window. If those turbines stop, of California's power grid another foot of shoreline disappears, and if the dam fails beneath the water, the consequences ripple far. This is beyond state borders. Itself. Simply put, neighbors Lake Oroville is California's beating heart. Dissolves when it behaves unpredictably. When she calls emergency the entire state, the response is calm and this is not a localized monitoring issue. The situation. It is a single point of failure. She hangs up for water security, packing, food production, photo albums, and power generation across America's most populous state. She refuses to wait. Describe managing Oroville. Go bags line the tightrope in trucks, darkness, sit fueled and back miscalculation. Children unexplained evacuation routes and millions downstream face catastrophic ecosystem collapses. The unfolding mystery the water turns at Lake Oroville with silt is not just about spawning beds suffocate. It is about toxic metals, mercury, lead, stir from old mining sediments. The consequences will echo for decades. In the absence of answers, fear fills the silence. Rumors explode. Ancient seas beneath the Sierra, secret tunnels, industrial drilling accidents, military cover-ups, hollow earth reservoirs, volcanic pistons pushing water upward. As the sun sets, the lake rises another 6 inches. No wind, yet the surface churns, white caps forming as if something massive is breathing below. Engineers hear it, the dam emitting a high-pitched acoustic hum. Stress fractures singing, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. 7 billion gallons of pressurized mystery now strain against a structure designed for rain and snowmelt, not the earth itself turning hostile. No dam has faced a surge like this without cause. No manual explains what happens when underground water decides to empty into a man-made lake hundreds of feet above. So the question remains, is this a geological miracle that could end California's drought forever? Or is Lake Oroville sitting atop something about to split wide open? Nature always reminds us who's in control, usually at the moment we feel most confident. The lake is speaking. The concrete is singing. The only question left is whether we listen in time.